Good evening. So at this time, we'd like to ask Commissioner Jeff Gregory if he could lead our invocation.
Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for another great day. So, thank you, Lord, for letting us meet here tonight so we discuss the issues and problems with this county. Lord, that we may agree and disagree and conduct ourselves respectful to each other that's pleasing to you. Lord, we thank you for sending your Son, Jesus Christ, down the cross for us. Through faith and your grace, we got a pathway to heaven. Amen.
So at this time, I'd like to ask Commissioner Thomas if he'd like to lead a pledge to our nation's flag.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. If we could now, Rita, if we could go ahead with our roll call.
If you would, please, when I call your name, check in on your device, please. You ready? Beverly Atwood, Tommy Belcher, Linda Bruce, Shane Burton. You here? Alan Carmen, Brian Crook, Will Dennis, Jerry Ford, Chris Gregory, Jeff Gregory, Bubba Gregory, Landon Gully, Judy Kerr, David Nallner, Leslie Overman, Mark Presley, Amber Russell, Lonnie Taylor, David Thomas, Steve Whitaker. 20 present.
All righty, at this time, I'd like to ask if there be any changes. I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the March 24, 2025 meeting, please. Yes. Motion by Jerry. We have a second? Second by Chris Gregory. Jeff Gregory, my bad. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Is there any announcements that need to come before the commission to be made tonight? Does anyone have any announcements? Okay, if not, at this time, I'll, if there'll be any, if there will be no changes, I'll entertain a motion to set the agenda for this evening. Got Chris Gregory, Ms. Apple. Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, at this time, citizens' response to any of the agenda items this evening. If you wish to speak to any of those, I'd like for you to sign in over here at the podium over here, and then you'll be able to come up and speak to those things when the proper time comes around. Now, we have a special presentation from our Sheriff's Department. At this time, Sheriff, you have the floor. Or actually, you do, sir. Sorry.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Taylor, Mayor McCall. Thank y'all for allowing us just a few minutes of your time to recognize some very valuable employees. I'd ask Deputy Randy Littlewood to come forward. As you all know, Deputy Littlewood was involved in a critical incident. His life, his health was in jeopardy. Those facts were gathered and presented to the American Police Hall of Fame. We've got 4 employees that went above and beyond the call of duty to render aid to them, get them back to a good state and what they had to have here today. Just so y'all know, these employees will receive a life-saving award from the American Police Hall of Fame, as well as some other pins that they can display. And we want these first responders to know that the Sheriff's Office and the public of Hartsville-Travis County really appreciate the effort they went to that day to make sure we got Randy here with us and he's in good health. As you know, on that day, which was Thursday, January 23rd, 2025, Deputy Randy Lemble was assigned the school resource officer for high school, experienced a medical emergency while on duty. was a normal day, everything was normal. It's shortly before 7 a.m., Deputy Level transmitted a verbal radio message to dispatch. Concerned by the nature of the transmission, dispatcher Holly Pilowitz called Lieutenant Basford, and Deputy Travis Blair responded and checked on Deputy Level immediately. They found him in his control car in front of the high school. He'd suffered a massive stroke. Emergency Medical Services and EMS Director Matt Beatty immediately provided medical assistance. Deputy Level was airlifted to Vanderbilt Medical Center, and by God's grace and quick and decisive action by these first responders, Deputy Level was expected to make a full recovery in T-Net. I certainly appreciate him being here today. Recognize his employees, and Randy's going to present them with a life-saving award. First one, the dispatcher that noticed something was wrong and went back and checked the records. She actually said, "Sounds like he's having a stroke." Dispatcher and records clerk Holly Pilowitz. The next one to respond, Deputy Travis Blair. Next to respond, Lieutenant Brad Basford. And last, but certainly not least, the one who made the critical medical decision, they will hit Randy to aid very quickly, EMS Director Matt Beatty.
Yeah, just. Yeah, I just want to say that, all officers did a good job that morning. I was in Nashville that day. I was halfway to Nashville when it happened, and I got a doctor's appointment, got down there, and they told me that Randy had been gone to Vanderbilt. And I told the nurse, I said, I think see y'all quick as I can, so I got down there to see Randy, and every guy out of surgery, they said he's gonna be okay when he gets back. God was with us that day, and appreciate it. He does a good job, he's a good person, good man, and we got a good department here in Travis County, too, and everybody know that, and they work hard, do a good job. Thank you.
I'm not a public speaker by no means, but all y'all know me and know what I've been through. And per the doctors themselves, if it wasn't for the timing I got there, I wouldn't be standing here today. Thank you guys, come on up. I love all y'all, want y'all family here. Thanks guys, you're doing your job.
Okay, that was awesome. Let them finish with their pictures. At this juncture, we're just going to move into county business. So if you all you want to stay, you're welcome to stay. If not, we appreciate your attendance for this service here. So. Okay, moving on. County Mayor's report. Mayor, you have the floor.
Have two or three items that I want to share with you. On the 141 highway project, they began placing pylons this past week on the bridge. So that project's moving along pretty much on schedule right now. Also, we've been working with the sheriff's department to get numbers. One thing that was addressed in the last meeting was the fact that Core Civic is putting tremendous pressure on our law enforcement, and that contract is going to be renegotiated next year. And we're getting the numbers together to justify a significant increase in the money that Core Civic will be paying us in that contract next year. The state informed us that so far with the new playground, that 4,000 folks have visited that playground since it was open. I've noticed some buses from other counties bringing children in to visit the playground. So it's off and running and has really turned out to be a big hit. I did meet with Cliff Salee last week and the concrete specialist, and we're in the process of getting bids to correct the curbs downtown, which have been a long running discussion. We have secured the services of an architect on the Ward School project, and that's moving forward now. We also heard from EPA this week on the Ward property, and phase 1 and phase 2 environmental studies have been done. They investigated 31 sites on the Ward School property, and they all came up clean, and so there'll be no remediation on that property. So we're good to go on the next grant as we work on the nature trail. That's all I have tonight. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Does anybody have any questions for the mayor? Okay, moving on. This time we'll go into committee reports. As you know, the steering committee meeting was canceled on the 1st, and it's been decided that we'll postpone the further meetings until after the budget hearings. So steering will be postponed until after budget hearings. So moving up, first we got Parks and Recreation, which met on April 8th. Bubba Gregory.
Yeah, we did meet April 8th. Minutes of the March 11th meeting, minutes was approved. We more or less discussed the pool because it's getting to that time of the year to open the pool up. He said Mr. Slade said the pool had been drained and cleaned up and a few repairs needed. The pool is showing its age, but generally okay. He's got more or less the lifeguards and the assistant managers and all that lined up. Still got some lifeguards that got to do some training at Jimmy Floyd. That was more or less it. We probably on the last year of this pool. We've in discussion of him and getting with some companies and try to give us some bids and different shapes and ideas on a new pool. And he's supposed to at our next meeting give us some information in regards to that. That's about it. The playground would ask. I think we're supposed to be getting some shrubbery and all that around pretty soon. And our next meeting is scheduled for May the 1st.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions for Bubba? Okay. Up next is, yes, go ahead, sir.
When is we're supposed to have a ribbon cutting, like a grand opening of that, Jack Mayor? Have y'all come up with a date on that yet?
We had planned on the latter part of May, and I understand that John Parker is going to be out of town that week, so we're kind of reshuffling to get a firm date. Said it's probably going to be the first week in June. We're going to call it Trey Day because it was named after Trey Park, and that's coming up, but there will be a grand opening. Yep.
Okay, moving on. Public Works met on April 8th. Commissioner Thomas, do you have a report for us, sir?
Yes, we met on April 8th, following Public Works. We discussed honestly, the increase of the dumping fees being moved from $37 a ton to $50 a ton, and how that increase was going to be absorbed. What we came up with through discussion over the last 3 meetings, knowing that this was coming, was we proposed an increase to the door-to-door, which is before us tonight. That's going to be a $5 on residential increase on that. Just for the record, I do live in the urban and I will be paying that 5 if it passes. But we're also we're doing a $100 rental fee for dumpsters, the large, right now we don't charge a fee at all. Commercial businesses, the county puts it there, we maintain it. All they do is pay to have it dumped, but those are starting to rust out. The dumpsters that Cliff's getting aren't as thick of metal, so they're rusting out faster. So it's becoming more of a cost. So we've put that $100 fee there to kind of help absorb some of those costs. We all agreed that the taxpayers shouldn't be paying for commercial businesses to be hauling their trash off. So that should at least be a break-even situation there. And we believe we've gotten as close to that as we can at this moment.
Thank you very much. Do you have anything else?
There was one other item that came up. We had voted to check Bransford for the generator. After that, which we were within the 30-day, bid timeframe, he responded back to the county letting us know that when he went in to put his order for the generator, the cost of that generator with the new tariffs and whatnot that are in place, that cost had been bumped up $15,000 and was going to be an extra 10 more weeks. So it would have been a 20-week lead time. Plus, he still didn't know what kind of tariff fee was going to be put on top of that. That being said, I invited the other considered individuals to come back and to talk with them. It was then decided that we would go with Capital Electric because they were going to be $6,000 cheaper and the same exact lead time with an American-made generator that we would not have to pay the tariffs on. Still the same 5-year warranty on it, still the same bid out. So there is a little difference in what was approved. We are trying to work on that, and if necessary, we might have to come back for an adjustment to that budget amendment that we passed to get an extra $4,000 to $5,000 to cover the difference. But that was a lot better than another 12 or 15. So that was the choice that we made at that time.
Thank you. Budget and Finance met on April 21st. Commissioner Gully, you want to speak to that?
Yes, sir. I met last Monday night, 6 p.m. What's before you tonight? There's quite a few budget amendments before us. If you look in the 101, there are 2. There's a fund balance draw for the trustees software that was discussed a little bit as well. That is a new software program. It's an upgrade. Trustees office. It does also have an annual fee, which is normal to be there, but this is an upgrade in software. That is a fund balance draw. There's also a reserve funds, county clerk office equipment coming out of reserve funds. Those 2 are the only 2 that really can't be, I guess you would say, looped together. All budget amendments were approved favorably. Any questions on any in particular ones I can discuss further?
Does anybody have any questions for Commissioner Gully? Okay, thank you. Moving on, Codes and Zoning did meet on April 21st. Again, David Thomas, could you speak to that?
Yeah, so we got an updated status from Rick Gregory on our zoning project that we've been working on. He should be sending that to formatting this month. We're going to wait till after budget hearings to present that final piece. He's going to be coming during work session, and I'll be working with the chairman to schedule some time so that he can come in. And it's a large project that we've undertaken, and I want every commissioner to have time to look through it, to ask questions. He's going to have the highlighted changes to present to the committee or the full commission. And he'll be able to answer any questions and kind of explain the rationale of why some of the changes were made. A lot of what we did was just redundancy, or they were conflicts between one or the other. We made a point not to do any new legislation, not to make any changes to it that weren't already there or that the state said was no longer legal for that to be there. That document hasn't been addressed or changed in any meaningful way since it was accepted with the charter. And as you all know, state law changes about every year. So there were a few things that we ran into that the way our zoning read was contrary to the state. Therefore, we either removed it or we corrected it to the state. So that's been the main part of this past meeting. We also started discussing the PUD zoning, and how that would work. We're going to take the next 2 months to review what Mr. Gregory has put together for us. That will be an additional zoning that will give us a way of doing R3 zonings without them being open. Now, this body is notorious for when a rezoning comes up, you ask, so what are you planning on doing with it? Which is an irrelevant question the way our open zoning is. But with a PUD, you'll have the plan in front of you. Here's what I plan on doing with the property. And the only way to amend that master plan is to come back before this body and us vote on it again. So there's not a situation like we had at Melrose where it's set up as doing single family homes. It gets put as R3. It gets sold to a developer and they decide, well, it's R3. I want to put townhomes now. And they double, almost triple the amount of infrastructure use with their new project. So it would give some protections for the county. We also talked about the possibility of a food truck permitting system. That's been talked about through planning. Some of our brick and mortars, even the ones that have come from a food truck, are still, now that they're a brick and mortar, are seeing, hey, these people aren't necessarily paying the sales tax that I'm having to pay. Is there a process that can be put in place? We're working on that to try to come up with something. Also, there was a discussion Rita brought to my attention. There's an individual who was looking at wanting to get another liquor store in Trousdale County. She was under the impression that based on, was that in the 70s, Rita? That there was, she found a municipal code for Hartsville that said that you can only have 2 liquor stores in the city, and there were none allowed in the county. Anyone who's lived here from the 90s on knows we've had 3, as many as 4 liquor stores after that. We found that there was a lawsuit by an individual who sued the city and was able to do the 3rd. We're still working to see exactly where the legalities fell from that lawsuit. So I've been talking with Mr. Beller, and we're looking to see if that lawsuit resolved that completely and we're good, or if we need to do an ordinance cleaning all that up, whether we want to keep a limit of 2, and apparently with the lawsuit, we really shouldn't do that, or just make a resolution or a statement saying that, you know, there are no limits. But we were discussing that and just waiting to see where that falls.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Commissioner Thomas? Okay, thanks. Moving on. First responders committee met on the 28th. Ms. Russell, do you have anything to speak to that with?
Yeah, I can. Tonight we discussed the weather sirens and the fact that we're not going to have them in this county, that we're using a reverse 911 system, that people can have their cell phones set up with it through the county website. The fire department has received $11,000 in grants. They presented us with a increase in call pay from $30 to $50 that we were going to send up with favorable. As far as rescue goes, they did receive a $52,000 grant and showed us the budget that they're going to present this year. Law enforcement, Sheriff Russell explained how they are falling behind on the pay scale pretty dramatically. The camera systems have been installed and are now working, and there is a possibility of them getting new body cams in the future. As far as the tower goes out on Gravel Hill, it is almost ready for bid. And tonight we've got a resolution in front of us about the TCRS hazardous duty supplement. And we touched on the holiday pay that is being discussed in personnel committee that may come to the main body. Our next meeting is going to be May 26th.
Thank you. Is there any other reports or anything that anybody needs to speak to anything? Nope. Okay, moving forward. We're now on to active business. First up is Resolution 2025-04822, which is the actual study for the TCRS benefits you just spoke of for law enforcement. This is on page 24 of your packets. Yeah. Commissioner Crook? Oh, motion to approve. Okay, without going through. Gotcha. Got a motion and a second. All righty, Brian Crook and Chris Gregory. This one has to be electronically voted, so you will, she'll set this up and we'll register this on your devices, please. Sorry, Amber.
Sorry. Hey, just so everybody is clear, this is coming out of law enforcement's budget. They are the ones that are fitting the bill for this. Yeah.
Copy. Thank you. Okay, so we will record your vote, please. Let's do a verbal vote. You won't ever do a roll call vote? Okay, I guess I've been advised that we'll just ask Brian. Brian, your vote? Judy, your vote? It's just vocally. Yeah, what is it? Yes, we have their yeses.
Yes.
We have a vote of 20 yes, 0 no, so motion passed. Yeah, we're having a bit of an issue with the system. It's scheduled for maintenance to be brought in or to come in and do it, so. You brought it back online. You rebooted it, got a new IP address. There you go. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Crook. All right, so the next one up is, sorry, Mr. Gregory, sorry.
Just want to point out, I noticed in the voting that it was telling us the tally. I think we had asked previously that be left off so that we didn't feel pressured one way or the other. 18 yes.
Got it. Okay, moving on. So next up is Resolution 2025-05823 ECD road names, Drake, Mallard, and Wyatt, which is on page 25 of your packets. And a motion from Mr. Crook, second from Mr. Gully. This is an electronic vote as well. If you'll register on your devices, please. Okay, so we had 20 out of 20 yes, 0 no. Resolution passed. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to ordinances, public hearing. I open the floor for the public hearing of ordinance 317-2025-04 regarding the impact fees and 318-2025-05 rezoning of McMurray besides Trousdale County High School. Is there anybody here who'd like to speak to either of those ordinances? Is there anybody here who'd like to speak to either of those ordinances? Is there anybody here who'd like to speak to either of those ordinances? At this point, I would like to take a motion to close public hearings. Got a motion from Commissioner Gully and a second from Mark Presley. This is a voice. This one here can be a voice vote. So, all in favor? Do we have any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. Chris? All righty, we're moving to that. There we go. Motion a second. Mr. Gully was a second. Okay, this one is an electronic vote. So you'll please record your responses on your device, please. We have all votes in, 18 yes, 2 no. As we have the option to take the third reading tonight. We'd have to have 2/3 vote on that, though. Sorry, Mr. Thomas,
I'd like to make a motion to take the third vote tonight.
second by Mr. Gregory. All righty, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, we will now register our votes on the third reading. And motion to approve, we just did that. No, what? Okay, so now we will take a motion to approve. We got a motion, second by Mr. Presley. A little muddy, sorry. And again, this will be an electronic vote. So we'll register our response on our device as soon as it comes up. We have 18 yes, 2 no, so it has been approved. Thank you very much for your diligence. So up next, we have the ordinance 318-2025-05, the rezoning C2 A1 and C2 R3 on McMurray, and this is on page 31 of your packets. Ms. Mayan, do you have anything you'd like to add or speak to this about?
As we had said before, that this is just taking the very first part of the section along the road frontage, keeping it C2, and then the very back part doing R3 for multifamily residents.
Does anybody have any questions for her? Yeah, Mr. Ford. We have a motion by Mr. Ford, second by Commissioner Bubba Gregory. This one will be an electronic vote, so again, we will register on the device, please. So the tally is 16 yes, 4 no, and it looks like it has passed. Thank you. Up next for our consideration is the first reading of ordinance 319 through 2025-06, which is the residential door-to-door trash fees, which you're going to find this schedule on page 35. The last time there was an increase on this was in 2017. And yes, Commissioner Gully.
residential, but this is not just residential, correct?
It's not. It's door to door,
Door to door.
residential door to door trash fees, which is on page 35.
But it also covers, business door to door trash.
Yes, it does. Commissioner Thomas.
So yes, our businesses are allowed door to door up to 4 cans. So this is an increase on both residential and commercial. Anyone who has a can that's getting picked up with the side loading garbage truck.
Thank you for the clarification. Thank you, Mr. Gully. Chris?
Do we know what the increase in the dumpster pickup fee is gonna be for business as of yet?
We voted on that at the last, I guess it was 2 Public Works meetings ago. I was looking to see if I could find the minutes to actually see what passed on that. Beverly, do you have those handy by chance?
The minutes from the Public Works meeting that Commissioner Thomas is referencing is on page 15 of the commission packet.
I don't think so. That was a 15% increase. We ended up doing a 15% increase across the board, no matter how many times you got dumped. It was just a straight 15%. So those numbers are broken out there in the minutes. But then again, you can see in your minutes there, it mentioning the rental fee there for the dumpsters. That's listed under residential pickup, but that should be under commercial. That's referring to your dumpsters, not your door to door on that $100 rental. Also included in the door to door right now, you don't pay, anyone who gets door to door doesn't pay for their can. This increase goes and compensates the county also not only for the cost to dispose of the trash, but also replacing cans. Most cans now are, the original ones that went out are over 10 years old. They're out of warranty. So this increase then covers those cans, and all your new cans would have 10-year warranty on them. So that the individuals don't have to worry about repairing their own. They can just report it to Public Works and they can either get it repaired or replaced.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Mr. Gully?
Just one, and I know there's got to be a number that we settle on. I think you said 15%. It appears our cost of trash is going up 26%, from $37 per ton to $50 per ton. How did we land on 15% of increase on cost if our output is going to cost us 26% more?
If you, the discussion during the meeting was not, we had discussed going higher. We settled on 15, not to be a burden on our commercial right now. This is an increase. We can look again next year at possibly doing another increase, but we didn't want to put the full burden on the commercial and cause an issue where they might be forced to go to cheaper private that might not do as good a job. We've got pictures from out at Dollar General where they're using a private service there, and there's trash all over. I mean, there's a lot of trash. If it's not in the can, they don't pick it up, and so it just piles up in their trash bin area. Mr. Salee was wanting to avoid that and try to understand that we needed to increase, but not so much that we drive people away to more private entities.
Any further questions? Chris?
Just one thing. where are we getting the 15% increase in on the dumpster rates? Because the reason I asked that, I serve as treasurer for the Community Help Center, so I write that check every month to Public Works, and what it's shown on here is more than doubling, what we would be paying, which I'm not necessarily opposed to, but how are we saying it's a 15% increase when it's more than doubling?
So looking at these numbers and talking with Alan here, these are the numbers that Cliff suggested. And the 15% we believe was actually a little higher than the numbers that are here in the minutes. But the 15% is what we voted on, to pass. That was that was the motion, and that was passed. So it's 15% more than what these numbers here show. And Mr. Salee is already implementing those.
I'm speaking on ordinance that we're voting on tonight, the 319-2506, back to our residential trash. I understand that other is a discussion, but what I'm speaking to is the ordinance we're looking at tonight. I'd like myself to stay, not muddy the water.
Mr. Thomas.
So addressing that is the residential. These are two separate items. The dumpsters are not coming before this body. That is something that the committee directed Mr. Salee to do, because that does not affect the entire county. That is just like the pool rates that Parks and Rec set. But the trash is actually more like a tax. That $5 really was the same discussion. There was such an uproar when the $1 increase back in, was it 18 or 19 that was done. We did $5. If this body would like to make an amendment to raise that even higher, that's for this body's discernment, but this is what we came out of committee in discussions.
Any further questions? Or I should say, any further questions or discussion? Okay, moving forward, ordinance 319-2025-06, door-to-door trash fees, which is on page 35, as we discussed, was motion to approve bringing this forward. There you go. Okay, got a second from Amber Russell. Okay, so this will go to an electronic vote. And again, this is the first reading, so it's going to go electronic vote. So please record on your device when it comes up. She's going to reset it. We'll do it again. So we'll register our votes again. Sorry, a little snafu with the software. So with all votes in, that's 19 yes and 1 no. So that's the end of our first reading on this. Thank you, everybody. Moving on, budget amendments. All amendments can be taken with one motion this evening if you'd like to, or we can pull them apart. If you'd like to separate them out, please make a motion to do so. Otherwise, sir. Mr. Gully.
Fund balance draw and the reserve funds will have to be separated.
Because it's electronic voting, it doesn't have to be.
Say it again?
Because it's electronic voting, it doesn't have to be because everybody's vote is.
All right, new to us. I like new.
So we have, do we have a motion to approve these as presented? Do we want to pull any out? Mr. Gregory? Did you get those? This will be an electronic vote. Register on your devices, please. Mr. Belli, or I'm sorry, Thomas.
We did a motion to take them all as one. Do we need a motion to approve them? Okay. All right.
We have all votes in. 20 yes, 0 no. Thank you very much. So at this time, Ms. Crowder has presented me with a list of the notary applications for the commission's approval. So we have Mike Potts, Hartsville, Trousdale County Government Property Assessor. We have Michelle Key, Trousdale County Vet Services, and Carol Carmen of Carmen Surveying. And motion to approve, second by Amber Russell. This is a voice vote, so all in favor? Do we have any opposed? So moved. Thank you. Into the, onto other business, the county attorney has an authorization request, some things he needs to address.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commission. Last week during workshop, we had a discussion with regard to a portion of the roadway on Beasley Bend Road that's being damaged by trucks, heavy trucks going in and out, causing a lot of damage. I just learned tonight that it's my understanding that it's a hazard for one of our bus routes down there. I've had multiple calls, multiple complaints to my office. I know that Mr. Scruggs has to his. All I'm seeking at this point is to have the authorization as necessary to bring suit against Matthew Lynn, DBA, as Lynn Farms Construction. We believe that's the correct party that would be responsible. We're looking to stop the activities that are causing the damage to our roadway, which is under an abatement of nuisance action, as well as for any recoupment of damages that it would take in order for us to repair our roadways. That's what I'm asking for tonight. So if I could have your authorization, I would greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions, I'll answer as best I can to the knowledge that I have right now.
Do we have a first? Yes, please. I'm sorry.
I have had numerous complaints as well, just because that is my district. I have drove down through there just to let everyone know. That road down through there has been pretty much demolished. It is very dangerous. It's a narrow roadway. It's up and down hills. They are speeding down through there. I know, to my knowledge, law enforcement has been notified multiple times. I have even found through social media and stuff that he is selling this soil. So I would like to make a motion for Mr. Beller to proceed. Second.
Mr. Beller, with him, if he is pulling dirt out of the ground and selling it, does that fall under the quarrying ordinance that we passed? Limiting where that can be done in the zoning?
Commissioner Thomas, we're looking at all aspects of this. Right now, I've got Ms. Myhan working a certain angle of this. There are other state agencies that are involved, and we're considering all our options at this point. And so I'm not going to speak to that until I learn more about exactly what his operation is doing. I can tell you, he does not have a business permit here through Hartsville-Trousdale County. Instead, he has one through Wilson County. He is not incorporated to the best of my knowledge, nor is an LLC. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a sole proprietorship at this point.
So we can voice vote on this one. So all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll get to work on it.
Also, Mr. Beller, do you have anything regarding the building authority?
Yes, there was a question that was raised. I think it's one that just is a point of clarification. We do this from time to time about county buildings. Just as a matter of for everyone's information, the county legislative body is the one that provides the funds to erect a courthouse, jail, or other necessary county buildings. And also to provide offices for the county clerk and other officials. So long as its office is maintained in the town, or in this instance, the metropolitan area, by mandate. County buildings are to be kept in order and at the expense of the county, under the direction of the county legislative body. So it's a function of the legislative body of the commission to do that. You can levy special taxes for that purposes. However, it's always good to have just, so we've got, any time we need a repair, obviously it would come before you to consider. The issue comes into play as well, who controls what? The sheriff's office is responsible for the courts and to control and maintain those, and that's always been yet a duty that they have. And I wouldn't recommend it go to anyone else. The county mayor is designated as the custodian of the county property that is not placed by law in the custody of other officers, ergo the sheriff. As custodian of these properties, the county mayor acts as the agent or the administrator for the county legislative body. And from time to time, if there are any repairs that are needed, then that would be coming from the county mayor's office. And any authorization for those repairs would have to come through this full legislative body and not any one committee. I know we have a buildings committee and things like that, but the authorization to do the major repairs comes through here. So I just wanted to go ahead and reiterate that. I know that come up a little bit, but that was all that was about. So for your information only.
Is there any other business that needs to come before the commission this evening? Has anyone signed in to make public? Yes, Mr. Gregory. I'm sorry, Mr. Ford. Well, I still got to find out if there's anybody signed in from the public to speak. Nobody has signed in from the public to address the commission tonight. Then I'll take a motion to adjourn, and I already have it. Second from Mr. Gully. Thank you, everybody, for coming this evening, and appreciate it.